Oh my god! Guys! Holy crap! Okay, I was outside mowing the grass, and then all of a sudden, a freaking bat, just flying around at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so I don't know, the thing probably had rabies or something, whatever, drops this letter right on my head. Yeah, check it out. And, oh, big reveal, yes! So, do you know what this means? This means either one of two things. Either, number one, I've been accepted to a strange government-run version of Hogwarts, or I've been accepted into the member of the Warlords! Yeah! Woo! Finally! Ah! Screw you guys! I'm out of here! I'm hanging up the YouTube game. I'm gonna be the master of my own little pirate crew. I'm gonna get my island. Let me read you some of this here. Dear Mr. Tekking, I'm a mister. I got a title now. Do you have a title? I don't think so. Due to your recent accomplishments in the field of cringe, we, the 5 Elder Stars, would like to invite you to join the 7 Warlords of the Sea. And then check out these benefits. I mean, we got permission to be a government-approved pirate. We get our own island. Ability to protect other pirate crews under my authority. The full health and dental package, which is extremely vital, especially in the times of pirates. Do you think, you know, Mihawk got that perfectly white set of choppers in his mouth just because of, you know, that's happen chance? No, it was the dental package. Also, we get free ice cream cones every Friday, redeemable only at Ben & Jerry's. Whatever, I don't care. Their ice cream's great. Why wouldn't I like their ice cream? Okay, awesome. I got a message over my Facebook the other day. I haven't really been paying attention to the Facebook in a while, so I went back in there and I was answering just a bunch of questions in there, and somebody sent me a question, and it was a question I've gotten before, and it's one of those that I think the answer is rather obvious, so I've never really made a video about it, but I get asked this quite a bit, so it seems like it's something on a lot of fans' minds, and I guess in a sense the question makes sense why you would arrive at this conclusion, but the question is this: why doesn't the world government invite Luffy to become a warlord? I get asked that question a lot, even if you're out there and you've never considered that, or if you think the answer is kind of obvious like me, but, you know, one way or the other, for whatever reason, I get asked that quite a bit. So I'll make a video about it. I'll do like a PSA here, public service announcement thing. Okay, so why doesn't the world government invite Luffy to become a warlord? Let's look at this from the world government's perspective, okay? I think maybe a little bit of a misconception here is that any pirate that becomes really well known, or any pirate that shows his strength or something, becomes like a candidate for the warlord system. And I'm sure strength is definitely a factor, but not the kind that you're thinking of. Not always just because of like you're you know, super tough and you got a devil fruit that's amazingly strong and you got, you know, this huge imposing figure. That's not always the situation for warlords. Look at Buggy. We're going to be looking at Buggy a lot, actually, in this video, but Buggy has his strength in something else rather than actual just physical strength, okay? But I would consider, for the most part, yeah, strength is a factor, okay? Because the whole premise of the warlord system is that we basically have government-approved pirates, privateers, that work for the government to try to eliminate all the other pirates, and they work under the authority of the Gorosei, and they have to obey them when they summon them to the war. Which, by the way, that doesn't sound too good. I might ever have to get invited to fight in a major military exchange. I'm not that great at that, but the odds of that are pretty low. I think the benefits way outweigh the, you know, free ice cream, guys. Come on. So, yeah, the strength isn't the only factor. You have to consider some other things as well, and the other thing that is really important is cooperation. All right? The world government has to be able to at least trust the warlords a little bit. Now, in the world government's eyes, I'm sure they're just all dirty pirates or whatever, but you have to consider, like, okay, yeah, they might all be, you know, pirates in a certain sense, but some are more cooperative than others. Law is probably a much more cooperative warlord than, let's say, if Kid was invited. And that's something else. How come that the reason that they didn't invite Luffy is the same reason they didn't invite Kid or any of the Yonko? Like, if that was the case, if strength was the only factor, they would be sending letters to, like, Kaido and Big Mom. You know, you guys should join the warlords. You're pretty strong, right? They have to actually be at least a little bit trustworthy and, you know, willing to go along with the government rule. And, especially in recent years when the warlords have actually been double-crossing the government quite a bit, like the situation that happened with Blackbeard, most notably. Doflamingo, yes, but Doflamingo was a little bit of an exception to that rule because the reason he became a warlord was because of his status as a celestial dragon already, and so his situation is a little bit more unique. Crocodile also, though, betrayed the warlords and the world government, so they're probably a little bit more skittish about that, right? But the simple matter of why they wouldn't, invite Luffy is because Dragon is his father, the head of the Revolutionary Army. I mean, you can't trust him. You just can't. It's not gonna happen. You can't invite on, like, the same thing with Ace. Ace's father is Goldie Roger. I'm sure the world government only found out about that recently, okay? They found out about that right before he was about to be executed. Sengoku even said that when he walked out and it was about to give that, the speech about Rouge and everything and Roger. He says that, yeah, we just recently discovered this. If they had known about the connection between Roger and Ace, they would never have invited him to join the warlords. They invited Ace to join the warlords a few years before he was actually captured, so there's the reason for that. But they're already aware, like Garp was already aware that Dragon was Luffy's father, and he passed that information on to him. Sengoku was already aware of it as well, long time ago. So there's no way you're gonna do that, because you're basically inviting the rabbit into the fox's den, so to speak, because, now, we understand that Luffy and Dragon don't really have a relationship together. We understand that Luffy isn't calling his dad every night telling him about stuff, but the world government, that's too much of a security risk. You have the son of the leader of the Revolutionary Army on your government payroll, learning all of our secrets. I mean, come on now, right? Also, Luffy straight up declared war with the world government. Alright, now you could say, in a broad sense, all pirates have declared war with the world government just because of the act of becoming a pirate. The second that you raise a Jolly Roger, you are considered a pirate, and therefore the world government, despises you, and you are now, breaking the law. However, if that was the case, the warlord system wouldn't have existed. It's just one of the many examples of the hypocritical nature of the world government, you know what I mean? So, obviously, some are more, lawbreakers than others. Look at Kid, once again. Kid goes around sacking villages, killing people, burning things down. The Straw Hats don't do that. Law doesn't do that, right? Okay, so and we're gonna get to Law in a little bit, because I want to talk, even the situation about Law becoming a warlord was a little unique, and we don't really know how it always works. Like, there might not be a standard. Like, the way that Buggy got admitted into the warlords was essentially they just sent the carrier bat and gave him the letter. That might not be the standard, though. They might have to, might have to do this by a case-by-case basis. Look at, okay, Boa Hancock, let's invite her this way, or, Jinbei, let's invite them this way, right? Okay, but taking it one step further, Luffy and the Straw Hats, they might have not have been as brutal as Kid was, but the situation at Enies Lobby resulted in the Straw Hats declaring straight-up war with the world government, burning down their flag, decimating their Cypher Pole agency, and at the end of the day, resulting in the complete devastation and leveling of Enies Lobby. Now, yes, it was technically Spondum's fault there, why the Buster Call obliterated the island, but how do you think the government's gonna spin that story to the public? Do you think the government's gonna come out and say, hey guys, sorry, but our dumbass purple-haired employee, who's supposed to be the head of our intelligence operations, nonetheless, ended up accidentally bombing the shit out of one of our most important islands? So, what do you think about this in this week's viewer poll, or reader poll from, the Weekly Economic Journal? Do you think the government's gonna do that, or do you think the front page story of Enies Lobby read something like this? Straw Hat Pirates declare war with the government, Enies Lobby in ruins! And then they have all the pictures of the freaking Straw Hats and Frankie included in there. And it's like, here's the reader's poll. How much do you hate the Straw Hat Pirates? How much do you think they're gonna be a threat in the future? That's probably how it went down, so that's another reason you just can't invite Luffy. There might have been a very brief span of time, right when Luffy was gaining speed and momentum in the East Blue, after he defeated Arlong and he got his first bounty, 30 million, which was pretty high for a starter bounty, especially in the East Blue. There might have been a small little sliver of time when the government might have considered to, invite him to the Warlords. In fact, here's some food for thought. Perhaps when they started seeing Luffy, when he became, well known, they started looking into his history. And he's already got the Will of D, and the government knows not to be careful with that D. Now, they're not, just gonna reject everybody from the Warlords that has the initial, because Blackbeard joined up, and he was a D, although I'm not quite sure. No, I think they knew his full name. I think Lafitte said his full name when he met with the Warlords and Sengoku at that summit meeting. I think he actually said what his name was. And even if he didn't, it would be easy to find his real name. Also, Garp. Garp is a D, and he's in the Marines, although I believe he's the only... Oh, no, him and Saul. So, yeah, they've accepted members of the D clan before, but it's still probably not... It's going to raise some red flags whenever they see that. Ooh, Monkey D. Luffy. All right, well... We were considering him for Warlord because he's been gaining speed. He took out 3 of the heaviest hitters in the East Blue, so let's check into his history. Oh, he's the son of Dragon. Yeah, no way. And then, remember, everything that happened from the East Blue to Sabaody, or the War of the Best, that was a span of less than a year. That was maybe 10 months tops from the time Luffy started his pirate adventure in Fuchsia all throughout the East Blue, Grand Line, Alabasta, Enies Lobby, Thriller Bark, Sabaody, Amazon Lily, War of the Best, Impel Down, all of that stuff, less than a year happened. So it happened extremely quickly where the government found out, there's no way we're going to invite him because we can't trust him. He is way too unpredictable. And by the way, just telling you straight up, Luffy would have never accepted it. There's nothing the government could have done. So let's get into the reasons on why people would join with the Warlords. If you notice, a lot of times with Warlords, they're not just joining up because they have nothing else better to do. There are some that are like that, like Mihawk. I can imagine Mihawk was kind of just doing his thing, sailing around, and he's well known as the world's greatest swordsman. And Mihawk's all about just kind of doing whatever he wants whenever he wants, alright? If I feel like going to this island and getting a drink, no one is going to stop me. If I get bored and feel like cutting up this ship, no one's going to stop me. And so maybe the government, maybe the Marines were chasing after him for a little while, and he just sliced their ships apart. And finally, the government maybe approached him. I could see the government approaching him with just a letter like they did with Buggy. And been like, all right, listen, we know that you're the greatest swordsman in the world. If you agree to stop, we're going to stop, following you and trying to arrest you and everything like that. And you can still pretty much do everything you want. All we ask is that whenever we summon you, you listen, essentially. And Mihawk was probably just like, okay, I see. Very well then, commoner. I will accept your offer if it allows me a day of peace from your marine ships or whatever. And the day that Mihawk just feels like not being a member of the Warlords anymore, he just I don't feel like this anymore. He's just gonna leave and no one's gonna stop him. But Mihawk's an intelligent man. He's very classy. He's very, sophisticated. So he's probably like, very well. But then you get to other warlords like Hancock and Jinbei who have reasons why they joined up. Because Hancock had her island to protect, okay? And this is, remember, she was the warlord for the longest time. She's the youngest warlord, but she's been one for the longest time. 11 years, as a matter of fact. 11 years, I think, before the time skip, so it'd be 13 right now. She joined up when she was 18, when she became the Empress of Amazon Lily, and right now, I believe she was 29 before the time skip, so I think she's 31 right now, so makes sense. The government probably confronted her and was like, hey, if you don't want pirates attacking, or if you don't want Marines or pirates going after your island, because, technology's getting a little better, just become a member of the Warlords and everything will be fine, just like the previous Empress. And, she accepted. I mean, she didn't really give a shit later on. But maybe Hancock at age 18 was a little different. Maybe she wasn't as much of a, certain words I could throw out at Hancock by the time she was, 29 and we met her in the story. But she would have accepted. Okay, anyway, moving on, then we have Jinbei. Jinbei had a very good reason for joining up with the Warlords. His was more noble, so to speak. It was about, furthering relations, bettering relations between humans and fishmen. That's why he joined up. Okay, so, yeah, they all have different reasons to join. Some are a bit more selfish than others. I would say, no, Jinbei is not really selfish. It's more noble in that sense, because he wants to create a better world for everybody. And some just don't care, like Mihawk. And we don't know the situations behind, like, Doflamingo's was definitely selfish. Crocodile's was definitely selfish. We just don't know why all of them joined up. Moria's was more or less just laziness, because he wanted the road to the top that was the easiest for him. He didn't want to do much of anything. He wanted other people to do it for him. So that's why Moria joined up most likely. Now, what about Buggy? Okay, because here's the thing. I am pretty damn sure that the world government, the Gorosei at least, knows that Buggy is a fraud. They know that Buggy is not this incredibly strong pirate, the kind of image that he presents, when he was on Kalibali Island and he's addressing all of his pirates in his dispatch situation. He's like, has the giant, blanket thing that he was making it look like he was this giant, he's like, I am your great pirate ruler, the Warlord, Buggy, go crazy, man. I'm sure the Gorosei know he's a fraud. He's not that strong physically. But the strength that Buggy has is, well, twofold. Number one, he's got the pedigree, being a member of Roger's crew, and number two, he's extremely lucky, and he has that silver tongue, and he could persuade others to follow his cause. Now, you might say, is that kind of, that might be kind of weird, Matt, because you just said the reason they don't invite Luffy, at least one of the reasons, there's multiple, but the reason they don't invite Luffy is because Dragon is his father. Well, Buggy, worked under Rogers, so don't you think there's some issues there? I don't think so. It's not really the same thing. Number one, Roger's dead. Okay, Roger is just dead, and they've kind of dug up, information on Buggy after the fact, after they found out who he really was. They probably went back in and did some more research, some more digging, and found out that he really didn't have any connections with anybody while in the East Blue. He was just kind of off doing his own thing. And then everything in Impel Down was, that was due mostly to Luffy and Jinbei and everything, and Buggy was just kind of there. So I think they realized that it would look really good for our organization to have a pirate working for us that used to be working for Roger. So that kind of shows dominance us over the pirate age. And also, he is extraordinarily easy to manipulate if we really want him to do stuff. Not rather himself. He's not really all that useful. But when it comes to the pirates that are working under him, that's useful. So imagine... I tried to snap and I failed there. Let me try that again. There we go. So if there's another war and they have to summon the Warlords again, they're gonna summon Buggy, but it's really not about summoning Buggy. It's like, hey, Buggy, yeah, we're gonna need you in this upcoming war. By the way, make sure you bring all the strongest pirates you have in your organization. Yeah, that's what it's going to be about. Alright, because he just has this amazing ability to persuade others and make him believe him when he says his crazy shit. Maybe the Gorosei are fooled by that. Maybe the Gorosei do think he's this mastermind, incredibly powerful pirate, but I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I think that they realize what he really is, but he's still useful in a certain way, and that's why they just chose to invite him by letter, because they knew he was going to bite at that, because he also craves power. Buggy craves power and treasure, so if they know, they send him a letter that just basically, if anything like this, like, hey, just join the Warlords, you get free ice cream. Buggy would be like, yes, sure, power, status, recognition, I'm all over that. So, yeah, that's the situation with Buggy. So, yeah, that's basically the reason Luffy's way too unpredictable. If he did get a letter, what would Luffy do? There's nothing the government could offer him. There's nothing. The government could offer him, like, well, you get protection from the world government and the Marines. Luffy's like, I don't need protection. I'll just beat the crap out of them if they try anything. Oh, okay, well, you get your own island and your own territory that you could rule over. I'm like, I don't need really anything like that. The sea is my kingdom. I'm all about freedom, all about just sailing the seas with my buds. That's all I need. All right, well, you get free ice cream. I'm like, I got Sanji for that. I'm like, yeah, that would be the one where Luffy would probably consider... Ooh, that's a tough one. Nah, I got Sanji. It's cool. Yeah, if I really want something to eat, Sanji can make it for me. So yeah, Luffy would never have accepted, and if he did accept, like, sure, I'll join your organization, the government could never trust him. They could never look at him like that because Luffy would be always running around doing really unpredictable shit. And especially, like I said, in recent years with Crocodile and Doflamingo and everything, they're not going to risk that as far as they could throw the rubber bastard, okay? So that's the straight-up reason why they never invited him. It's the same reason they never invited Kaido or Shanks. That's a waste of time. They would have declined, and if they said no, I mean, if they said yes, you couldn't trust them because they're either really intelligent or they're really unpredictable, one or the other, and sometimes both. So yeah, that's the way it goes there. The whole point of the Warlord system is try to maintain a force that is strong, but also cooperative with the world government's goal. And as for Law, just really quick before I leave, Law presented basically an application process by gathering up all the hearts of pirates and an unidentified Rocky Port incident. That was still a big part of it, but we don't know really what that entailed. But anyway, yeah, he gathered up all these pirate hearts and he presented them to the government and everything, and he probably struck them a deal, because Law's a pretty conniving bastard and he knows what to say, and, you know, they already knew about him from Rocky Port, and after the situation there, he was probably just like, you know, if you let me join the Warlords, I know you guys are shorthanded right now, I'll listen to you, I'll do everything, I'm just, you know, I have my own devices. And the government probably considered this, and they looked at the past of Law and everything, and they thought, yeah, he's somebody we could at least trust at least a little bit, better than Kid or Killer or any of the other Warlords of the worst generation. So, yeah, or just the members of the worst generation. But yeah, that's the reason. I get that question fairly often, so I thought, you know, I should do a video on it. I'm the man of the people after all, and I'm gonna send this back. Maybe I could, you know, I gotta sign it. You know, you gotta do all the paperwork, man. That paperwork kills you. Gotta do everything in triplicate. It's a pain in the ass. Alright, I'm gonna get this set up, and yeah, I guess this is it. Later, everybody. Have a good life. Signing out.